Hi, and welcome to my first DIY video, hopefully one of many Crafternoon videos that I would love to share with you about how I make my jewelry and accessories for my small handmade alternative business. I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. So let's go. Today we're doing some beaded chain earrings. They're very simple. It's just charms, some chain, some eye pins, and some beads. Here we'll just go through some of the tools that I use on a regular basis. So these are jump rings of various sizes. And here's me. My name's Autumn13. I'll be recording off my iPhone today, so bear with me. It's one of my first videos. And for these earrings, I'm just measuring out about 2 inches or about 5 centimeters of chain, and then each charm or bead is going to dangle off this charm for my design. So I'm just going to show you how I open up the chain links here, because we don't want to pull it open. What we want to do is we want to open it like a door almost. So it's a bit hard to film and do this at the same time, but I just wanted to show you how you can stop your chain from getting broken or damaged. So you just open it up, but ideally you'd want to close it back like a door as well. And I'm just going to measure out 2 lengths of the same size there, and that's going to be the base for these pumpkin spice earrings that I've designed. I'm just choosing the really small jump rings here. I think these ones are about 3 or 4 millimeters in width. They're really delicate and fine to match the charm pieces that I have, and I'm just going to use 2 for this one. So one's going to be for the pumpkin charm, and the other one is going to connect it to the French hook earrings that I use. So here's me opening one of those O-rings up, and then I'm just going to thread my chain and charm onto it. These little pumpkin cup charms are really cute. They're actually, you can buy them from Etsy, or I think there's even some eBay sellers that are selling the same or similar ones. I just thought it was a really nice way to pair them with some pumpkin charms and some Swarovski crystal beads that I found. So here I'm just closing up the ring, and I always like to make sure that there's no bits sticking out so it doesn't catch on any hair or clothing. I'm always really careful to do that for each one, because if it does get caught, then it's just going to break. So that's not what we want to happen. So I'm just going to thread it back on the edge of the earring hook, and then I'm going to close up that one. So that's the base there, and then from here we will attach the other beads and the pumpkin charms. So it's about a third of the way done here. And next we have the Swarovski crystal beads and also the pumpkin charms. So I'll just choose out some more O-rings. Sometimes it's easier to use the pliers. I have a few different types of pliers. There's about 4 that I use on a daily basis. That's all you really need. You don't need a giant set of pliers and things to start jewelry making. I literally have 4 that I use, and I've had them for years. So if you do want to get into jewelry making, I really highly recommend just going to a dollar store, or eBay is where I get so many of my craft supplies from. So you can get pliers for a couple of dollars from eBay, or if you prefer to use Amazon, I suppose, you could also try them, or your local craft store. I find my craft store a spotlight here in Australia, but they're really expensive and it's kind of the same quality for the pliers compared to online, so I tend to just buy a lot of my things online these days. Here I'm just threading on the Swarovski beads onto the eye pin, and these ones, they just have a little stopper on the end to stop the bead, and I use these small pliers to bend it over on itself. And then here I'm going to make my own loop, so I put the pliers at the end and then I bend it back on itself on the narrow side of the pliers, and I make this kind of C shape here, and then from here I get my snips. They're flat nose on one side, so they cut it flush. So I put that side towards the bead and clip it where I think it'll be enough to do a loop, and then I use the narrow tip to just bend it in on itself. Then I use my flat nose pliers here to hold it in place. I mean, you can buy a tool that you can do this, but you just can't really get in as close to the bead unless you do it yourself, I find. And once you've done it 100 times, it's really easy. Sorry I didn't get that in the camera shot. It was really hard to do while I was trying to look at it. I'll try and film that better next time. So yeah, basically I've just made my own loop, and I'll copy that process over for each of the beads here. I chose autumn colors, so I've got some red, orange and some yellow. Now I'll just try and replicate that process again. This is literally how I started my store, is I just get simple beads and charms and I just add them together. I always think something looks better with a few beads on it rather than just the charm itself. It just makes it look that little bit nicer and adds that handmade touch to it. I've put the pumpkin in the middle, and then I'm just randomly choosing where I put the rest of my beads. So some of the beads, I'll just put them either side and choose my design, how I want them to lay. Here I just open up the hook again, and then I just thread it onto my bit of chain and close it back up again. I find jewelry making really therapeutic and one of my stress relief things that I do. I think if I didn't sell jewelry, I would just give it all away that I make. I just love making jewelry, and it is nice to sell some sometimes because it just gives me more money for supplies mostly. But it does make a really nice gift. So here I'm just adding the rest of the beads on. I'm just doing it randomly, just whatever I think looks good. I'm not a total perfectionist. I just kind of use eye for how I choose how things will go. Even things like the lengths of the chains, I eyeball them quite a bit. If I'm making a huge batch, I'll measure them out, but if it's just one or two or just for myself, I'll just guess basically. Because you can always fix it or change it. That's the beautiful thing with jewelries. Nothing's ever incorrect or wrong. It's just the way you did it, and you can always go back and add to it or take things away. This kind of design, you could use it for other concepts as well. You could just choose your own charms or make different themes, have them hanging off the chain. Or you could use a similar idea for a necklace or a bracelet. That's kind of what inspired this one. It was like a charm bracelet, but an earring that you could wear. I love charm bracelets. I've got a few of them, but I don't tend to wear them because I tend to catch them on things as I'm trying to do stuff, and I worry about breaking them. So I thought, I wonder if I could wear them as like an earring, and then that way they're kind of less likely to be damaged. Well, here's my finished earring there with the charms and the hook. I just check that everything is flush so it's not going to catch. I'm hoping to record some other DIY videos, so if you see anything on my Etsy store that you like the look of and you'd really like to know how to make it, or even if you just enjoy watching craft videos like this and you just enjoy sitting down and watching someone else craft, which I know I do, so if you do see anything that you want to see me make, please leave a comment and just let me know what you'd like to see, or if you want to see how something's made. I'm more than happy to share that because I really struggle myself to find good tutorials sometimes. They leave a lot of things out sometimes, so I hope I'm not leaving anything out here. So here's my shop if you ever want to check me out. I do have these listed on my Etsy store, so Helloween 13 is the name, and if you would like to purchase them, I hopefully we'll have some left, but if not, I hope you can make your own for yourself or as a gift. This is just how I turn my packaging from my business card into my shop stock. So a lot of my earrings, I will use this. It's a Japanese style hole punch, and this one's actually from Martha Stewart. It's pretty old. I've had this for years. I use it all the time. It's got a really small hole there which you can just push down and it will create the perfect size hole for earrings. I have to wriggle it around a bit because it's so old and I've been using it for so many years. It's probably getting a little blunt, but I think it's definitely worth the investment. If you see one, they're a great tool for jewelry making. I just thread my earring hooks through my business card, which I've designed on purpose to display my jewelry as well as give out at markets or things like that. After that, I usually get a little cello bag that is resealable and I will put it in there. It'd be great if I could get away from using plastic at all, but with charms and jewelry, you really have to keep the dust and air off them. They can get dull or tarnished, so this is just a really good way to keep them clean and fresh looking. And you can reuse these bags, so they are ideally the best way to store your jewelry. So if you are holding a lot of jewelry like I do, keep them in a plastic resealable bag. Here I'm just putting on some earring stoppers. I don't always use these, but sometimes when I have them handy, I'll put them on, especially if it's a heavier earring. It just kind of helps. But a lot of the lighter earrings really don't need stoppers. Sometimes this part can be a little fiddly, but it is satisfying to finally finish a piece. And that's basically how I would package it for my store or for an order. I put them in a little organza bag, or I have boxes for my larger pieces, but when it's small, a little organza bag is perfect because they make a nice little gift, or you can just use them so you don't lose them. I lose earrings all the time, so if you keep them in their bag, it's a really good way to stop losing them. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed that, and I hope it was relaxing. Join me for your next Crafternoon video. I think next I might do something different. maybe photo pendants, or who knows. Thank you. Please like and share if you feel like it, or leave a comment if you want to see anything new. Bye.